What's up, guys? This is Final Fantasy Fan coming to you guys with another video. Today's video will be a special one. Today I'm going to tell you all about my gaming history, how I got into gaming, and how has it affected me over the years. Now, I'm going to start with the first game I ever played, and I may mention some stuff before that. And gaming is a big part of my life now, and I know gaming isn't, you don't need gaming in your life, but to me, it's very important. To be honest, actually. So, we're going to start with my gaming history. I don't know if this is going to be split in part 1, part 2, or anything, but, well, let's get started. The story begins back when my older... I dropped something. My older brothers were little, and my dad used to play Super Nintendo a little bit, so I think the first system that they ever played was the Super Nintendo, which is actually a little convincing since the Super Nintendo is my favorite console of all time. That's pretty weird. And then fast forward to 97 when I was born. And, I didn't know what gaming was because, I was a baby, so, what you expect. Then at the age of 2 or 3, which was 99, 2000, I played the first video game ever. I played the first video game I ever played in my life, and, alright, you guys ready for it? Okay. First video game I ever played was Super Mario 64, baby. That's right, this is the first video game I have ever played in my entire life. Because, back in 99, 2000, I guess Nintendo 64 was still alive. Well, it was, but, the next-gen consoles were coming out. And this was released back in 96, but I wasn't born yet, and even if I was, I probably would have still been a baby. But when I finally was able to hold the controller and move the analog stick on the N64 controller and actually start playing, I loved it. I actually really loved it. And my older brothers were about, alright, I'm not going to say their age, but let's just say they were older than me, obviously. And they were collecting a whole bunch of N64 games, so they had a big bucket full of N64 games, which is what I showed in my N64 collection as the collection rised up to this day. So I started playing some of the other games that they had, what they had in there, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. I used to have that game, but not anymore. I have it for GameCube now. Ocarina of Time, Donkey Kong 64, GoldenEye, Banjo-Kazooie. Yeah, they basically had all those games, and I was a little kid, so I didn't really love all the games, but as I got older, I started to appreciate the games and how their difficulty, how their difficulty was mandatory. Now, I grew up on the N64, but, the Super Nintendo was, dug out of my grandmother's basement or something. And, I played that too. Yeah, I believe the second console I ever played was Super Nintendo. Basically because it was dug out of, a basement or something. Now, let's fast forward a couple of years when, Christmas morning, where I unwrapped a present, and I found the Nintendo GameCube, and yes, it was to me. Yeah, the Nintendo GameCube was actually the real console I actually really enjoyed a whole lot. I think the first GameCube game I ever played was Spyro: Enter the Dragon. Yes, I'm a serious gamer, so I can actually remember these things. So yeah, the first GameCube game I ever played was Spyro: Enter the Dragon, and others. I think at the time, remember, this is at the time, not this day. At the time, I think the GameCube game that I enjoyed the most was Super Smash Bros. Melee. Yeah, that's a really good game, and it still is to this day. Many people prefer Melee over Brawl. I don't really understand that. Maybe it's the GameCube controller, I don't know. But, you know, Super Smash Bros. Melee was really, really good. I mean, and yes, I did actually play the original Super Smash Bros. For N64, which I didn't like as a kid. Really, I didn't like it because it was too hard. You know, little kids, they don't like. They think the game is too hard. They constantly just yell out, "I don't like it." Well, that's what I did when I played Super Smash Bros. I hated it because it was too hard. But hey, what do you expect from little kids? I was stupid. So, you know, I didn't really like Super Smash Bros. N64, but when I played Melee, you know, even as a little kid, I thought it was good because, you know, it wasn't as hard. And I remember playing with my older brothers, and, you know, their older brothers, like, friends would come over. We'd play 4-player on Melee. We'd just have fun. I remember my older brothers would struggle trying to unlock all the characters. So yeah, that was fun to watch. You know, I got many GameCube games over the years, like, you know, Smash Bros. Melee. What other games did I get? I think the next game I enjoyed on the GameCube really well was The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Yeah, Wind Waker doesn't really have a lot of fans, I must say. Probably because it was Toon Link. It was like a different Link, like a cartoon kind of Link. Instead of like a more realistic Link, like an Ocarina of Time, or the later released Zelda games. But Wind Waker I loved, really. But you know, the little kid instincts come in. You know, they don't like it because it's too hard. Well, actually, I didn't like the game because it was too hard. I didn't like it because it was too scary. Because when you get to the Forsaken Fortress, yeah, that level even to this day creeps me out. I mean, you have that statue on the wall where if you walk by, your eyes glow and makes that little like that growl sound. That still scares me to this day. Not like scary like I was watching a horror movie, like scary that's like it's like a little shock, like a surprise attack. And I think the scariest part besides the statue in the Forsaken Fortress was the guards. Yeah, if you even move one single inch while they're walking by you, you'll hear this like do like a drum roll, and then they'll look at you. They'll look at the barrel, see if it's moving, and their faces were like kind of scary. It was like a bull face or something. Yeah, that level still gives me the creeps. And you know, I get so scared every time I hear that and then they look at you. So yeah, Wind Waker was great. I beat the game, but at a very older age. And then, you know, I just continued to get, you know, GameCube games. Sorry for the game. I continued to get GameCube games. And then, you know, my older brothers get the PS2. And then here comes the Xbox, the original Xbox, not the new one. And I remember playing Halo 2 with my older brother all the time. Oh, yes. Halo 2, I remember that game a whole lot. Halo 2 was great 2-player game, especially when you have... Well, it's not really fun when you have an older brother kicking your butt all the time. Because, you know, I hated that. But I loved the game so much, I just wanted to continue playing. Okay, we are running out of time. I will see you guys in part 2.